Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I'm going to utter a blasphemous statement that there are cases in which a novice lifter might actually want to do the floor press instead of the bench press. Now, why is that blasphemy? Well, because it goes against what Starting Strength says and Mark Rippetoe, and they actually have really, really good reasons why the bench press should generally be done by a novice. They give a great write-up on it. It's very, very well explained by the Starting Strength guys. Okay, it's good reasons for the novice to do it. All of my novice programs include it, and I tell novice lifters it's usually a good idea for them to master this exercise for general hypertrophy and strength of their upper body. And it's good exercise. However, there are cases where the floor press would be better. Now, some people say, well, couldn't the dumbbell press be better? No, because some of the cases where the floor press would be better, the dumbbell press would be worse. All right? Why do we dumbbell press? To increase range of motion. That's it. That's the only reason we dumbbell press. Increase range of motion. Okay. A lot of skinny novices, they have too much range of motion on the bench. You have too much range of motion. In other words, a lot of us who are thicker, we have big rib cages, big pecs, things like that, the bar can only come down so far. Okay, we are not, if we keep the bar path low on our chest, we're not going to have an issue putting our shoulders into a compromised position. Okay, a lot of novice lifters are thinner. They have smaller rib cages. Okay, they have smaller rib cages. They have smaller pectorals. Okay, their range of motion on the bench press could be 3, 4, 5 inches deeper than a lot of us. What does that mean? That means that their elbow is going to go much lower than their shoulder joint relative to a lot of other thicker lifters. And in some cases, that can be excessive range of motion. Well, what do I mean? Well, I have had at least one client who it causes pain in the center of his chest. Okay, it causes pain in his sternum to bench press. Not because he's hitting it, even if it's controlled and he pauses. Put him on a floor press. Problem went away. All right, and that's a good one to use. And I don't mean because you're bouncing it off your chest, but if you're a novice lifter who is very underweight. Now, if you weigh 160, I'm not talking about you, unless you are 6'5", then you're underweight. Talk about skinny guys. Talking about skinny guys. Hey, some of my undereaters, this applies to some of my eating disorder guys. I currently have 4 clients who have been diagnosed with anorexia or bulimia at one time. 4. I've got some skinny guys we rebuild. Okay, floor press is great for that because they're thinner. We need to limit the range of motion. Okay, but in the case of some people, it actually hurts their sternum. It's like we see on a dip. What about people who it hurts their shoulders? Okay, when I say it hurts your shoulders, I'm talking about someone who knows how to bench press already. All right, if you're bench pressing above your nipple line with your elbows flared out at the bottom, we know why the bench press hurts your shoulders. Because you don't know how to perform the exercise. Okay. You're not bringing the bar to the correct bar path. You're not in scapular retraction. I have an entire how-to video on the bench press. Incidentally, I have one on the floor press too. Go to my channel and type in how to bench press on the search engine. How to floor press. They'll come up. Okay, I'm assuming you know how to bench. Well, in some cases, the range of motion is still too far. It causes shoulder problems. Okay, it causes shoulder problems until you thicken up. Now, what about people with a history of shoulder injuries? Had a client, former client, he moved on already, but he actually gave me a glowing endorsement, at least on my private wall for people to see, all my other coaches and friends and family. Active duty military guy. He's got 2 shoulder impingements. 2 shoulder impingements, both sides. He couldn't do any sort of press without pain. Nothing. Put him on a floor press. In his case, with a football bar. He got up to where he was past 225 for reps as a guy who has spent months and months unable to do any form of pressing. No benching, no overhead press, nothing. But he had a football bar at base. Okay. Floor press with a football bar. Guy now reps out 225 on that exercise. Pain free. Okay, so what about people with a history of shoulder injuries? Okay, people who already have some shoulder damage. A A lot of times, if they floor press and use a correct bar path, which means they can keep the scapula down and back, they can keep the bar low on the chest, they can oftentimes floor press pain-free. Okay, sometimes these are novices. Sometimes these are people who have major shoulder problems. Sometimes they're people who need to build mobility. All right, the floor press can be valuable. But if you're not injured, but your shoulder is still delicate, and when you bench correctly, it is painful in the shoulders, okay, you could look into the floor press. Okay, it's a possibility for you. It's a possibility for you. All right, worth looking into. How about a novice lifter who cannot learn to control the eccentric on the bench? Now, that's a good one. If you're a novice lifter and no matter what you do, you can't control the eccentric rep on the bench press. Now, this could be for physiological reasons, and it could be because of your hang-ups. Guys who hit their chest with the bench every time, you know who you are. The floor press will teach you to quit doing that. Do you know why? Because it hurts. If you do that with the floor press, it's going to hurt on every rep. You're going to reinforce to your brain, that you need to control the last few inches of the eccentric because it's physically painful if you don't when your elbows hit the floor. That weight driving them in. Okay. What about people who've lost eccentric control? I got eating disorder guys who have been extremely underweight. I'm talking complete deterioration. I've got a couple like that who were building back up. Oftentimes people who have lost very large amounts of weight, not only do they have connective tissue problems making them more prone to injury, which means we need to limit their range of motion. Okay. They also are skinny, so the other issue we have with the bench pressing, that's an issue. What else? They struggle with eccentric control. Okay. They struggle with eccentric control. And that's true of some really skinny guys. We've talked about that with the box squats. Talked about that with glute bridges, right? We've talked about that of skinny guys just plop down on the couch. They're not used to getting hurt like fat people are. So we need tools to teach them eccentric control sometimes. But we're usually thinking of lower body lifts, aren't we? What about their upper body? If you have someone who struggles with that and they do not have good control of the eccentric rep, then guess what? We need to reinforce that. So it not only trains the eccentric rep, you can have them do it even with a lightweight and it's uncomfortable. They get reinforcement. So if you have people who, for whatever reason, need to learn to control the eccentric rep better on their bench because they bounce it off their chest, this will teach them to stay tight on the way down. Okay, that staying tight is important for muscular development. Right? It's not just about strength. A lot of times, we'll say this stuff, people will say, well, I don't care about my max bench. You're talking about for powerlifting. No, I'm talking about building your chest. How about for hypertrophy purposes? Learning to engage your chest more by learning to control the eccentric and keeping your chest tight. The floor press can train that. So let's go through a list of stuff. Some novice lifters could benefit from using the floor press. The biggest ones, obviously, are the guys who are so skinny that the bench press itself is too long of a range of motion. Okay, because you've seen people like certain YouTubers that, oh, you could just stop at 90 degrees. Well, stopping at 90 degrees with a bar in the air is stupid. Okay, that will get you hurt. So if you're so skinny that you have an excessive range of motion with the barbell, with the bench press, you can use the floor press to control and perfectly control your range of motion in such a way that you will never risk injuring yourself from the bar dropping too low when you fail a rep. You'll have consistent range of motion for tracking, and it becomes a non-issue. Okay, so for people who are really skinny like that, it can help them. All right, for some people with a history of shoulder injuries, again, because of the exact limit on the range of motion, it can be easier on the shoulder joint, less likely to have that internal rotation of the shoulder joint also. It can help them train around their injury. Okay. Number 3, people who struggle with eccentric control on the bench. The people who the bar hits their chest or they get loose. They dive bomb the weight and they get loose at the bottom of the bench press and they cannot stay tight. The floor press is a corrective tool for that. So we have multiple categories of novice lifters who might actually benefit from doing the floor press. Now, what I would say, if you don't fall into one of those categories, do the bench press as normal. But if you do, it's at least worth considering. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.